Well, our international affairs editor, Douglas Herbert, joins us now to discuss it all. Douglas, firstly,
morning, Eve.
Morning. This meeting here in Paris, what do you think it might focus on? The European continent's own security or that war with Ukraine?
It's everything. This is, Eve, to put it bluntly, this is the what the hell do we do now summit. The Munich conference at the weekend, look, it took 80 years of transatlantic unity, took the shredder and put it through the shredder. European leaders, now not all of them, right? It's 8. It's a core of European leaders who think they can act quickly, getting together to basically say, what can we do to prevent Ukraine from being invaded again? And down the road, perhaps us from being invaded. They're looking at the prospect right now, as soon as this week, of, American officials, Russian officials getting together and basically, as Europe sees it, giving Putin a free ticket to do as he pleases with Ukraine. That means basically stripping its sovereignty, weakening it militarily, keeping control of the fifth of Ukraine they already have, eventually installing a government with a pro-Russian stooge at its head, ousting Zelensky, and carving up spheres of influence between the U.S. and Russia, back to not just the Cold War, but the Cold War sort of writ large. And that all sounds melodramatic, right? It sounds like, oh, come on, Doug, stop being so hyperbolic. That is absolutely the prospect that we are contemplating on this Monday morning as we wake up. So the question is, I said it's the what the hell can we do now summit, right? What can they do now? Well, concretely, what they're going to have to do, because the U.S. has basically laid down the gauntlet in Munich, is they're going to have to find a way to boost their own defense capabilities, right? The things that Trump has been telling them to do. Get your defense game up so that you, in turn, can provide security guarantees to Ukraine, right? Help Ukraine survive as a nation and prevent itself from being invaded again. Why? Because the U.S. ain't going to be there to do it anymore. The U.S. has all but said that to the Europeans. You're going to do it. We're not going to be there anymore to do it. We have matters elsewhere, Asia, Latin America, Africa. That's where our worries are. So they're going to have to boost the defense spending, give the security guarantees, perhaps offer Ukraine automatic NATO membership in the case of the event of a breach of an eventual ceasefire in any ceasefire talks. And down the road, also, where are they going to get the money? They're also going to have to find ways to raise their defense spending, which might mean sort of doing away with abolishing the rules that limit the amount of money that they could spend, their constraints. So blow those apart in order to temporarily give them sort of more of a free hand when it comes to defense. This is a giant order. I will just note this. You said it in your introduction, right? There are 8 countries going to be there, right? I think it's Germany and Italy and Spain and Poland and Britain and Denmark and the Netherlands, plus the European Union chief, plus the NATO chief, right? All getting together, Macron hosting it. What you have to look at right now is Keir Starmer. The UK had been sort of down and out after Brexit, right? It had been sort of like sidelined from the international stage. The irony, what Trump has done for this whole equation, it's brought UK back into the game here. All of a sudden, it could be playing a crucial bridge role because Keir Starmer, by an accident of planning, as the Brits say, is going to be at this European Emergency Summit today. And then next week, he's going to be going to Washington, speaking to Trump. He is now going to become Europe's perhaps new Trump whisperer, in a sense, giving the message, trying to hold the line, and also suggesting that the UK, this weekend, he suggested, could perhaps put troops on the ground in Ukraine.
Yeah, under condition. But of course, there's dual talks also going on. The US and Russia is set to meet in Saudi Arabia. But could Zelensky be invited to that finally?
Well, there had been speculation. There had been sort of talk, because Zelensky is in the region. He's in the United Arab Emirates this week, and he's going to be moving on eventually, presumably, to Saudi Arabia. But Ukraine has confirmed, at least as of this hour, that Zelensky is not expected to attend. And it's not shocking. Why? Because Zelensky, if anything, made one message exceedingly clear at the Munich conference. He is not going to acquiesce to any type of eventual peace deal between U.S. and Russia that doesn't have Ukraine at the table and that doesn't provide, I'm going to use that cliche term again, Eve, security guarantees. Security guarantees sounds like some wonkish term thrown about by defense experts. It isn't. All security guarantees mean for Ukraine is that Russia doesn't invade it again 1, 2, 3 years down the road, that Ukraine is able to retain a morsel of its sovereignty, a morsel of its right to exist. That's all it's asking for. You say, oh, well, that's a heavy lift. Well, it wasn't a heavy lift until recent days and the New World Order being sort of upended by a new Trump administration. All these questions are suddenly back on the table in a big way, in a way that they hadn't been a month, 2 months, 3 months ago. A few months ago, it was an article of faith that Western unity, U.S.-European unity, with respect to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, that was a given. It wasn't to be argued, and all of a sudden it's being argued against. So this is the reason that he's not going to, for now, attend that meeting. He sees no reason to be there if he's going to have absolutely no say over what is being sort of determined by U.S. and Russia.
Okay, and those security guarantees and the whole future of NATO comes up into question again. But we've looked at what Europe is facing as an immediate problem, what Ukraine wants to get out of it. But from Putin's point of view, what will it take for him to say, OK, I can stop the bombing?
Well, first of all, we've always said this is not just about Ukraine. Putin's war against Ukraine is part of his broader agenda, not because I'm saying it, but because Putin has said it multiple times. His broader agenda is to weaken NATO, drive a wedge between the U.S. and Europe, to drive them apart, so to speak. This is why Zelensky over the weekend, everyone rolls their eyes when he says this. He says to NATO and Europe, he says, you don't seem to understand. Putin's real agenda is he's looking for NATO to become weak enough, for the U.S. to pull its troops out of Europe. He wants to perhaps invade Europe. How much Europe? Who knows? 20%, 30%, 50%? This is Zelensky's warning to Europe. Yes, once again, it sounds hyperbolic. It sounds like a Ukrainian leader in distress and under duress who is basically pleading for some help. But it is actually a real prospect, given Putin's worldview. Putin has explicitly stated he sees the West, NATO, Europe as weak, as decadent, as morally bankrupt, as divided unto themselves, as about to implode. He is biding his time and waiting for that to happen. And as of now, as of this morning, the Donald Trump administration might vehemently deny it, might try to say everything to the contrary, but it is basically playing Putin's hand. It is playing into Putin's broader plan of a resurgent Russia, a civilizational Russia that has a right to basically rule over a much larger sphere of influence right now, one that possibly stretches, in the eyes of his ideologist Alexander Dugin, all the way from Dublin to Vladivostok. I know, the melodramatic commentary of the morning, Eve, but watch this space, because it's really not me saying it. This is Putin himself. You just have to listen to what he's saying.
I'm even thinking of the political parties in Europe that, very clearly and openly support Vladimir Putin and the popularity they're gaining. Douglas Herbert, thanks a lot for that insight. Well, while all of the talks